everyone, Luther Smith here. I'm actually recording this on Friday night because this is going to be a big reading. So this is going to be the Saturday video and I'm recording on Friday. It is the 22nd today, but it will be the 23rd tomorrow, and this is going to be a video of another member of Chris Clan's family, or in this case unfortunately a late member of his family, due to this person, Bob Chandler, dying in 2011. So let's get into it. We're not going to bother with that. We're going to read these two quotes here. "It was an interesting life I had," and that was Bob at peace. I had more freedom when he was alive," and that was Chris. To be fair, if he was still alive to this day, Chris would have been like more controllable, less nuts. Robert Franklin Chandler Jr., 4th of September 1927 to 6th of September 2011. Well, he was born in September and he died in a September. Only like a few days apart, but only just different years. Was the father of Kristen Weston Chandler, Carol Chandler and David Allen Chandler, the stepfather of Cole Smithy and husband of Barbara Weston Chandler. Bob became a firm favourite with trolls due to Chris's empathy towards him, and for his infamous cameo when he walked in on Chris masturbating. His nickname, the Internet Lumberjack, came from this incident. No pun in. What is that? I seriously thought I heard something then. Let's carry on. Yeah, it came from this internet incident, no pun intended. Yeah, it's like two videos. We'll probably do a reaction video to them, but it's two videos where he comes in and tells Chris off. Despite being estranged from his other children and just despised by his stepson, Bob was widely viewed as the better parent than his wife Barbara. This was due to Bob being somewhat concerned with Chris's idiotic behaviour and the fact that he occasionally tried to encourage a modicum of responsibility in Chris's pathetic life, bringing up the fact that he devoted 26 years to raising that selfish man-child. Of course, Chris was almost entirely unaffected by Bob's efforts to better him, but unlike Bob, he at least made the effort. So let me just check if it's still recording, because yeah, I swear I'm hearing noises. I need to get my hearing checked, to be fair. This ain't the first time I heard something that wasn't there either. I did hear something like a few days ago and that wasn't there. Let's see. Bob was always eager to chat, and indeed much of the known information about Bob's life comes from conversations he had with trolls. Whenever in person or over the phone, Bob appeared to relish the opportunity to speak with just about anyone. In other words, he was like a people person. It sounds like a really nice people person, to be fair. Bob died with complications from heart failure on the 6th of September 2011 at Martha Jefferson Hospital ICU, surrounded by his family, his pastor and hospital staff. So he's got a load of information here. We're gonna let's just go. Name, we already know his name, also known as Bobby Mr. C, the Internet Lumberjack, Gallup Crush, and Robertoo, another nut thing that Chris called him. Date of birth, yeah, you know that he died at age 84. Male, American, white, half Sonic. Fuck's sake, Chris. He was a president. His spouse was Patricia Faye Harley, 1956 to 1980. Barbara Weston, 1980 to 2011. Children, Dr. David Alan Chandler, Carol Suzanne Chandler, Kristen Weston Chandler, and Cole Smithy, his stepson. Grandchildren, Sylvana Chandler. Father was Robert Franklin Chandler Sr., 1906 to 1977. His mother was Jane Holloman, 1906 to 1945. She died fucking young. Jesus. You're both born in 1906, though. Huh. Education, Auburn University in engineering. Applications, military communications engineer inventor. We got a load of stuff to get through, so let's just get through it. Biography. Yeah. Do we do? Yeah, that's fine. Biography. Bob was born in Fort Worth, Texas, and raised in Alabama. He was the only child of Robert Franklin Chandler Sr., 1906 to the 27th of December 1977. That must have been horrible, dying after Christmas like that. Alabamian insurance agent, and Jean Holloman, 1906 to the 10th of May 1945, a Texan housewife. Bob mentioned having a cousin and several Cherokee relatives in Oklahoma. However, a distant relative dispute about his Cherokee heritage and his son's DNA test results in 2018 belied an American Indian descent. It is common for white Southerners to make dubious claims to Cherokee ancestry for a variety of historical reasons. Bob has said that he was interested in the world around him since he was 10 and began collecting foreign stamps as a child in the 1930s. His first stamp was of Michael I of Romania. I'm guessing that's the first. He also developed an interest in foreign music, eventually collecting some 15,000 to 20,000 LPs from various genres and cultures, which Chris sold the stamp collection and the record collection, I believe, due to his debts, where he wanted to pay back, but he selfishly sold his father's belongings, the idiot. It is not clear how this collection fared in the fire, or probably burnt, but it was apparently not a total loss, as Chris offers to sell some of the albums to Catherine's cousin Al in late 2014. Service and education. I really swear I'm hearing something. Seriously. Service and Education, a 1942 yearbook from something high schoolist, Bobby Chandler in the freshman class and Glee Club. Glee Club is like a singing club, I'm pretty sure. Suggesting that he graduated from and that was a motor. I heard a car coming from the back of our place, but the echo, it sounds like it's coming from the back when it's the front, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. Suggesting that he graduated from his school in spring 1945 before matriculating in Auburn University as an aeronautical engineering major that autumn. Bob apparently had the knowledge that the army desired was conscribed as a special draftee in 1946, and placed in the Signal Corps. Signal Corps. There he learned how to install valve systems, switchboards, and telephones. After the basic training and signal school, Bob was sent to Korea for a year to install infrastructure with the American Obligation Force. Serving until 1948, he was entitled to the World War II Victory Medal for his service. Service number was figuring he'd get swallowed up at a big college. Bob picked a small college, Jacksonville State Teachers College, after leaving the military. He studied pre-engineering and joined the band there for 2 years before returning to Auburn University, where he studied electrical engineering and graduated in 1952. And as an engineer, he never learnt to spell properly. While he was at Auburn, he was a member of Phi Alpha, a social frat dedicated to men who are interested in music. Career: Bob worked for Western Electric, was an engineer for 40 years. There he designed a variety of electrical subsystems. He eventually went to work for General Electric in upstate New York. He had a pretty decent job and decent upbringing back in them days, to be fair. New York. Since New York was cold and Yankee for Bob, he moved away after 3 years, working in North Carolina for some time. He worked with both Goodrich and Goodyear. With General Electric, Bob was responsible for at least 7 patents, but Barber claimed in an email to Miyamoto that without Bob's influence with the computer rails, SNES may not have arrived so soon, ignoring the fact that SNES was designed and released in Japan in 1983 without influence from Americans' electronics. That is true. It's he didn't invent electricity, to be fair. It wouldn't go that far. You got another quote. Bob Chandler is one of the most creative engineers of the organisation, and that was the general manager of General Electric. Examples of Bob's accomplishments include an automated steel mill for rolling steel for cars, a paper mill for the protection of production of Kleenex, warehousing railroads and tanker ships. He designed scooters, die casting machines for producing plastic products, and a vehicle logging system. Both Chris and Barber had bragged that Bob designed controls that were used for plastic water container molding machines. I'm pretty sure that he just made things. He didn't making machines that made things. He just made things because things were done by hand back in them days, to be fair. They didn't have robots and stuff. When exactly Bob did retire is not known. During the 1980s, the standard age for retirement for men in America was 65. And that's the standard age for retirement over in the UK as well nowadays, with many choosing to retire sooner. Bob was born in 1927, meaning that he was most likely retired by the late 80s and early 90s. The Richmond Times-Dispatch article about Chris's name change clearly says that Bob was retired at the time of the article. Was published in 29th of December 1993. Bob himself was proud of this natural incorporation of logic, although he was inundated with all his designs, and whenever he did well for the world. Would plastic bottles lead to mankind's salvation or utter destruction? Only time would tell. Let me just have a look at my recording bit quick. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I thought it was recording longer. It's about 15 minutes. World consciousness. Quote, I have been very, very interested in the world since I was 10 years old, and that was 70 years ago, and I'm very fond of and really truly believe in the United Nations, but you won't find anyone else in my countryside or around here. I think that does, but anyway. I am very world conscious, and that was Bob. Politically, Bob was identified as a Republican and did not vote for Barack Obama in the 2008 presidential elections. With that being said, in the time leading up to the Virginia these American words, election in 2009, Bob had misgivings about Bob McDonnell, a Republican candidate and eventual winner of the election. Bob and Chris considered the option of writing in Snoopy rather than voting for any of the candidates listed on the ballot. In potentially a damaging moment on the 18th of February 2009, Bob doubted the existence of Greeley's country of origin. However, he continued talking under the assumption that it was under Russian control. However, he rather damningly failed to question why Greeley spoke perfect English with an American accent. Okay, now we're getting on to the relationships. Previous family. Bob was previously married to a woman named Patricia Harley on the 25th of September 1956. They had 2 children, David Allen Chandler and Carol Suzanne Chandler. Bob and Patricia were separated on the 28th of June 1976. Okay, they had about 20 years. Okay, not bad, I suppose, for a good one. After divorcing on the 28th of January 1980. So it took them 4 years to divorce after that. Bob's relationship with David and Carol were strained in his later years. Chris did not know he had a niece via David named Savannah until she was 80 years old. And Bob's relationship with Carol was even more strained. According to Chris, Bob was always concerned about Carol. None of the Chandlers knew what was going on with her, and last they heard, she was working for the government, implying that she did not show up for her father's funeral. Barbara. Bob and Barbara met at a bar on a karaoke night. Barbara was there with friends and Bob was singing. According to Chris, Barbara did the pursuing and chased him down the hall. It sounds like a succubus, like a man-eater or something like that. This is probably why he figures he would get away with. Why he figures that he would get away with being passive in terms of courtship. In contrast, Cole, friends with Chuck, who worked at the bar, has a vivid memory of them being drunk retards. They got married in 1980. Oh yeah, they got married when he got divorced by his ex. Okay, that's one way to do it. Only months after Bob and Patricia was divorced. Yeah, that's probably not the best way to do things, to be fair. According to Chris, Barbara did not have sex with Bob for at least 2 decades before his passing. They have been sleeping in separate rooms for the past few years. Cole. Bob married Barbara when her son Cole was 17. Around that time, Cole left to lead his own life. Cole feels that Bob's bitterness worked to separate the relationship with his mother. Cole said that he would celebrate when that fuck Bob drops, but it is unknown if he did so. Cole said that he and Bob shared a mutual hatred, though there isn't any proof that Bob hated Cole. In the least, it's certain that Bob knew Cole didn't like him. Okay, now we're on to Chris. On to the Chris Chan portion of the family, and see also Bob's letters to Chris. Got a quote: "Get away from the internet," and cutting it down right now, and that's Bob Chandler, the internet lumberjack. When Chris was a boy, Bob encouraged him to learn more about the world and tried sharing his interests in hobbies, including engineering, geography and stamp collecting. When Chris was 7, Bob converted the shed in the backyard of 14 Branchland Court to a workshop where he and Chris would build things together, dubbing it the Dreaming Studio. To be fair, that's nice. That is good. It's like a bonding moment with your son, you know. Chris could not recall what they had built together and asked about it in the following years. In the years following Bob's death, he and Bob has been using the space for hoarding storage. Let's check if it's still recording. Yes, it's still recording. Levels are pretty good. Bob wished that Chris was more interested in the world. He tried to teach Chris about foreign geography such as Europe and Australia and Austria. Yes, Australia, I think. But he thought correctly that Chris didn't understand countries and continents beyond what he's seen on television, and he can only associate with places he has physically been to in Virginia. Bob enjoyed collecting stamps as a boy growing up in the 1930s, and he continued to do so for several decades, with a focus on the United Nations and foreign countries, building a collection of stamp albums which filled 6 boxes. That's a lot of stamps. He taught Chris about his hobby, buying him a beginner's stamp album in 1992. Chris seemed to enjoy the hobby as well, since he had many pages of stamps filled in. In 2017, Chris began selling pieces of Bob's stamp collection to pay bills, because Chris is a fucking arsehole, that's why. True to form, he priced Bob's valuable pieces at decent prices, generally for $5 per set, but tried to sell his personal stamp album for $1,000. I'm really not quite sure how much money stamp albums like that would cost, to be fair. So how much are stamps, like really old-fashioned stamps, worth nowadays? I'm really not quite sure. It was later revealed in Bob's written letters to Chris that he wanted Chris to learn about the treasure and heirlooms that he had left him, a request that fell on deaf ears. He was probably rolling in his grave when he sold them stamps. Bob's racist joke on Barack Obama would paint the White House black as soon as he began. The president influenced Chris to draw in Sonic 8. Wow, really? Chris's phobia of penises were apparently sparked from barging into his parents' room, where Bob had a habit of sleeping nude from the waist down, with a little shriveled dick hanging out. Chris often complained about stressful confrontations with his father. Got another quote: "Well, my father is a major stressor against me. Starts arguments, annoys me, rarely washes his hands after wrestling's break." To be fair, you gotta wash your hands, especially nowadays. Lord knows I've tried to encourage him to wash numerous times and rarely succeeded. And that was Chris in real life chat on the 31st of December 2008. Got another block of text. However, the many instances of Bob's communications with trolls show that he was generally pleasant and amicable, and not all inclined to start arguments, as Chris asserts. As seen during the lead up to the fateful encounter between Emily, Chris and the man in a pickle suit, Bob seemed to be more happy to discuss stories with people, and those hadn't seen or heard of much of Robert Simmons V, who met Bob during his visit to Chris's church, conversed with him extensively, later saying that he was a truly pleasant guy. The algorithm to which Chris refers is likely to be Bob's attempting to constructively criticize Chris in order to better him. Chris deeply resents being told that he does not want to hear. That's the thing, because it's like with Bob, it's like he's the sort of person you just want to sit down and just like listen to his stories. That's what I'd like to do. It's like something like someone like Bob. It's like sit next to him, just like listen to his like stories in his life. It would be interesting to be fair. An example of criticism was Bob telling Chris that since Bob had looked after him for 29 years, despite his childish and outrageous behaviour, Chris would show more gratitude towards him. Chris was completely dismissive, figuring that his father was obliged to take care of him. In other words, he just wanted someone to baby him. After seeing no reason he should demonstrate any foreign concept of love and support, gratitude and willingness to help, reinforcing Bob's point, Chris was still run for his father's aid when he felt threatened, and in later parts of the Casey and Liquid call. To be fair, right, I might give a listen to that call because I hadn't listened to all of them yet. Despite Bob's occasional frustration with Chris's actions, he seemed to have brought into the theory that Chris is tormented by an complex network of enemies spanning the entire world. Not the world. Some people in America and some people in England, to be fair. Maybe Canada, I don't know, but not the entire world. Due to the success that he has learnt from his own Sonic franchise. In the Matthew Noble call, it appeared that Bob seems to be of the origin of Chris's tendency to bring up unrelated mishaps and debacles to make current incidents and sources of stress seem pretty in comparison. Once during a phone call with Trolls, Bob stated that Chris had accomplished significant goals in his adult life. Kinda not. Okay, he did the Sonic comic, but he could have done better really. He made a comic. I think that was the only decent thing that he did in his life, but he went off the scale after that. However, it is unknown if Bob actually believes that, not to mention what compliments he was referring to, or was it just something he was saying because he didn't want to admit to a complete stranger that his son was a total failure in life and a leech on society. It seemed that he seemed never to get past the notion that Chris could had achieved things, given that he continued to have a nursemaid Chris well into his son's late 20s. In the later parts of 2019 and throughout 2009 and 2010, was chronicled in Chris's emails with Vivian Lee and Jackie. Bob had been forced to take an increasingly active role in controlling Chris's spending and debt, paying off Chris's credit cards with his own money in an attempt to prevent interest charges from spiraling even further out of control. By the fall of 2010, he was monitoring Chris's bank accounts on a daily basis and keeping him on a strict allowance. Upon finding out about Chris's escapades in early 2011, Bob's reaction was to question Chris's sexuality, one point calling him a fag. Chris even said, especially specifically that he doesn't have to love his father but has to respect him. Confidential details collected after Bob's death, however, suggest that Chris was more emotionally attached than he let on, providing a rare and precious evidence that Chris doesn't take presence or persistence for all others for granted. In December 2012, Chris uploaded the soundtrack from the 1990 WTJU Jazz Marathon. in which Bob was a performer and a host. So he did like DJ work as well back in the day. No, 90s, okay. It's not that further back, it's like 30 years. God, that is old. Was notable one of the few moments where Chris publicly honoured his father's memory since the later passing in the late September 2011. Do the old check. Yep, it's working. I have to check OBS every now and again just to make sure the levels are good. Bob lives on in his son's memory. Chris noted the occasion of his father's passing by attaching the angel rings to the Lego figurine representing him, and displays 2 photos of him in front of his TV. He often visits Bob in his dreams. Okay, yeah, that is nice. That is wholesome. It's quite nice. I mean, like, my gran died in like 2002, and I have a photo in a frame of her on my windowsill, on my windowsill, and I had it on there ever since she's passed away. So it's nice to keep like little mementos around the house to remind you of your family, and that it's always nice. Due to the influence of the idea, guys, Chris expels believes that Bob is half Sonic, and apparently is still alive in a quick fill dimension if I can go. Which these beliefs began in December 2017 and continued even after the idea, guys, has been removed from power, as shown by below quote from the 2018's Father's Day. And we've got a quote here. This is an actual tweet that Chris posted out them. Hashtag Happy Father's Day to each and every father in the world and in every single other dimension too. My father's alive again. I still love him even in his checker pack and glory. Yeah. We're not going to look up pictures, by the way. We're just going to get through this and just end it. Later life, poor health and death. Here we go. Here's the bad parts. Bob lived on Social Security with his General Electric pension. He never really had people to chat with at home, and would ramble to total strangers on the phone if he could. So he sat around, listened to music, and took care of the garden inside his greenhouse. With an 1970s stereo system set up in the greenhouse, he went to swing with the music on his swing there. Bob had 2 triple bypasses and 4 heart attacks. Damn, that's rough. To be fair, that sounds really rough. The 2 triple bypasses operations took place in August 2018. He wore a artificial pacemaker. In one prank call, Bob revealed that after surgery for cancer, it was discovered that he had a fluid build-up in his legs, which is a symptomatic of CHF. The rapid decline on his health worried him. He attributed his long life to the Cherokee in him. His uncles and grandfather all lived past 90. Despite his heart troubles, he continued to eat at Burger King every day. You probably shouldn't do that. If you're having heart problems, don't eat greasy fast food because it'll make it worse. Clog your arteries right up. On the 1st of March 2010, Chris tweeted that Bob had been taken to hospital in the early hours of the morning, for congested heart failure. Chris seemed confident that his father would not be in for a long stay, considering Bob's age, lifestyle, and long history of heart disease. Chris did not seem to grasp the seriousness of his heart failure. Bob had been the only thing keeping the Chandler household from imploding, and as such, trolls and white knights alike wished him the very best. In the month following Bob's hospitalization, Chris was remarkably quiet on the subject of his father. News about his condition was hard to come by, as information only arose when Chris was inclined to complain about it online. Statistically, congestive heart failure is not as immediately fatal as the name implies, but Bob's age, prior heart attacks and lifestyle made it a very serious situation. Chris's videos over the month of March made no mention of Bob at all, staying true to his painfully predictable nature. Chris instead lost a girlfriend he never had, made racial slurs and death threats towards a cartoon character, and raised against abstinence. His silence on the subject of his father was probably because of genuine ignorance and the seriousness of his father's condition. With that. A poster on CWC contacted Chris. Like a post on the internet. There we are. Or like a member of a post it. Contacted Chris via a PSN regarding Bob. He posted a screen capture of Chris's response saying that he's doing much better, thank you. After contacting Chris via email and got a response saying yes, my father is healthy and safe. Clearly it was neither, but it was at least proof that Bob hadn't joined the rights only section of heaven just yet. Jesus Christ. In late May, Chris finally made a brief mention in a public video that his father was alive and well. Chris was at least half right. A breakdown of Bob's final moments reads as follows. On the 24th of March 2011, Bob claimed in a phone call to have cancer of some description. I didn't know he had cancer. I just thought it was his heart and bed bug bites finished them off. On the 23rd of April 2011, in an email to Jackie, Chris revealed that Bob had received surgery for colon cancer. Oh, that was it. Okay. Colon cancer's horrible. That must be a really horrible disease. All cancer's horrible, but there's some that's a lot worse than others. But you just gotta get it treated straight away as soon as you find out about it, to be fair. You can't let it carry on, otherwise it'll get worse if you leave it. On the 20th of July 2011, it was revealed that Bob knew about Chris's cross-dressing tendencies and, like Bob, vehemently disproved of them. On the 29th of August 2011, Chris was now deeply entrenched in his Tom girlish ways and mentioned that Bob was ill and the sickly shut-in and suffering from feet bloatings. In early September 2011, Bob was rushed by ambulance to Martha Jefferson Hospital with heart failure. It was discovered that later Bob had been put into quarantine when he arrived because his body was covered in bed bites. Here, that's what really finished him off, to be fair, and posed a contamination risk. On the 6th of that month, he died at 84. Out of respect for him and his family, the Quickie was closed for a week from the 12th to the 19th of September, with the start date coinciding with the day of Bob's funeral service was held. Site visitors were directed to a page simply read Robert Franklin Chandler Jr. 1927 to 2011. I actually remember, like, a Eugenio Samuel video from that did the topics back in them days, like back then. If you click on the Quickie website back then, or use a Wayback Machine, you'll just see that little dialogue, and yeah, it was horrible when he died. To be fair, it was horrible. I mean, yeah, I found out about his death like a few years ago. Like, I wasn't following like Chris Clan's internet habits from day one, because I only found out about Chris Clan about 2 or 3 years ago, I think, and I just got interested in his habits and stuff. Just interesting fellow Chris Clan is, apparently. Okay, cause of death. Despite the fairly clear-cut nature of the lumberjack's passing, Chris was since declared that the Trolls was responsible for Bob's death. No, they wasn't. They was not. In an email leaked on the 22nd of March 2014, Chris claims that the stress of his trolling led Bob's heart attack. This keeps a trend Chris has developed for blaming any and all misfortunes, even those faced by everyone, like burying a family member, on Trolls. Got a quote here: "And the total stress killed my father prematurely. If not for those Trolls, he would still be alive and would likely live beyond 2015." And that was Chris. Even for Chris, this is appalling behaviour, using the death of his own father as a vehicle to play the victim and slave of the Trolls. While it's not uncommon for those to have lost loved ones and blame their deaths on existential causes, however impossible or insane as in this case, Chris's actions are motivated purely out of selfishness and egotism. Business as usual. Years later, in 2017, Chris revised his claim and said that Bob was killed after the hospital staff surprised him with a loud Why would he say that when it's not even the truth? He went on to say that he had more freedom when Bob was alive. And he got another quote: "I wish I could go back to the 5th of September 2011 to stop the staff from making a loud noise that killed my father with a stressful surprise. I had more freedom when he was alive." And that was Chris. Stop lying. Just tell the fucking truth. He died of a heart attack and bedbug bites. Just tell the fucking truth, Chris. Really, stop lying about your own family. Obituary. Both Barb and Chris collaborated in writing Bob's obituary, I think it is, which was published in 2 local papers. Main points of the obituary, apart from the standard birth date of death and next of kin, include text going into the unusual detail about what Bob did at General Electric, the location of the memorial service to follow on a later date at Raisley Memorial United Methodist Church, the church that Bob and Chris used to frequent together. This is the same church that Rocky Shoemaker counsels Chris from. A footnote asking readers to not donate flowers but donate money to Barbara and Chris, which I'm pretty sure that they used that on themselves, to be fair. It's meant to be for the funeral, but they probably ended up using that on themselves. Did that just stop? Did my no, I keep thinking that it stopped. Okay. With Chris taking part of writing the obituary, it's amazing that the writing stayed focused on Bob and did not mention Sonic Youth or become about Chris. That's good, because it focuses on like his own family for once. Original text. Robert Franklin Chandler Jr., 84, of Ruckersville, passed away in the morning of Tuesday, September 6th, 2011, at Martha Jefferson Hospital ICU, surrounded by family, pastor, and hospital staff. He was born on the 4th of September 1927 in Texas, the son of the late Robert Franklin Chandler Sr. and Jean Holloman Chandler. On the 7th of June 1980, he married Barbara Ann Weston, who survives and the couple gave birth to a son, Christian Weston Chandler, who survives. Also surviving is ex-wife Patricia and their shared children, son Dr. David Allen Chandler survives, and daughter Carol Suzanne Chandler survives. He graduated from Auburn University with a degree in engineering. He served in the United States Army, South Korea, in the Signal Corps during the Korean War. He worked for General Electric as an engineer with steels, plastics, etc. He also has patents for the controls of plastic moulding machines. Without him, we would not even have our simple plastic funnel. I'm pretty sure he was like working as a team. He probably wasn't the only one, to be fair. Also surviving are granddaughter Savannah Chandler, the daughter of David Allen Chandler, and his wife Kimberly. A funeral service will be held at Monaco Memory Gardens in Charlottesville, Virginia at 10 a.m. Monday, September 12, 2011. Memorial service will follow on a day later at Paisley Memorial United Methodist Church. Instead of flowers, you may make monetary donations to his widow Barbara Chandler and son Kristen Chandler. In memoriam. Yeah. Bob is often seen as a generous, hard-working man, all things considered, and who tried, a bit without success, his best to refine Chris into someone that would at least pass for a responsible adult, giving him mock job interviews and chaperoning him on dates where he proved, unsurprisingly, more adept at climbing the dates more than Chris. On the other hand, we have him to thank for some of his son's more backwards world views, and managed to alienate his other children that his daughter didn't attend his funeral or keep in touch while he was alive. That's the thing, because like some of his family members didn't even come to his funeral or keep in touch with him. He helped Chris to construct bizarre conspiracy theories to justify trespassing and the like, among other things. He, like Barbara, enabled Chris's crippling dependence on them, general immunity and irresponsibility, and his myriad of other flaws. He would bail out his son repeatedly and never let Chris experience the consequences of his misfortunes and life decisions. He never made any serious effort to correct his son's glaring character flaws and shortcomings. Even when he's caught him masturbating in the kitchen, why the fuck would he do that in the kitchen? He did not make the effort. He did not make any real attempt to provide for Chris's future. Beyond insuring the tugboat, he left all the money to Barbara, who promptly wasted it on lawyers' fees. A cautious parent would have anticipated this and put some money back in the trust of Chris. For Chris, ultimately, Bob's legacy is a complicated one, while some like to remember Bob as the kind-hearted man who tried to do his best to be a good father, others see him as a old, backwards thinking coot who partially is responsible for the person that Chris is today. Well, it's 50-50. It's like some things he did good and some things he could have done better, you know. Chris's beliefs on Bob's afterlife. Here we fucking go. The idea guy influences. Got a quote. Robert Franklin Robert Franklin Chandler Jr. and Ted Bundy's souls never went to heaven or hell. They both became reborn as their respective Sonichu forms. Mr. C and Ted also served to help the nation of Quickville in defense and intellect. And that was Sonichu 16, page 49, and that was basically Chris being an absolute fucking insensitive nutjob. I know he was groomed by the idea guys, but come on, why would he fall for people's advances like that? During the idea guys saga, Chris's beliefs in multiple dimensions were exploited and his sense of reality hijacked to make many of Chris's characters, concepts and perspectives of the real world, with him considering them to be valid. Perhaps one of the most heinous examples was the idea guy's manipulation of Chris's views on his own father, views which Chris has yet to abandon. Despite the idea guys being removed from power by the guard dogs in mid-2018, the ideas involving Bob include: Bob's spirit resides in Quickville Dimension C197 as half Sonichu named Robichu. He's styled in his Sonichu form as a beaver with plaid fur, a reference to his troll-given internet lumberjack nickname. Bob met serial killer Ted Bundy while in Quickville and helps defend it along Ted. Because fucking obviously, Chris. The idea guys, post idea guys, Chris decided that Robichu's fur colour was really red with black ears, because he found it hard to draw the plaid colouring. It's just drawing squares, Chris, it's not that difficult. Robichu was featured in cards in Chris's homemade Shipfic expansion. In one, Chris photoshopped a photo of Barbara so that she was standing beside a drawing of Robichu in the Sonichu form. The card reads, "Honey, I'm home," and states, every once in a while, Mr. C runs back home to offer comfort to Barbara. Before the dimensional merge's completion, she has missed him every day, and found the solace and comfort when he comes by. He continues to carry a torch for her in his heart and soul, while he helps to protect everyone in Quickville and at his temple of a house. Appearances in Sonichu. Got quote, "Christian, you are not a girl, put your pants on," and that was Bob Sonichu episode number 12. In spring break 2008, a radio announcement from Gamster Sonichu mentions that Bob founded Quickville in 1982, presumably after Chris's birth on the 24th of February, given that Bob named the city after his newborn son. Comic Bob presumably served as mayor before Chris took the office at an unknown date. At other points, Bob was mentioned in Chris's tangents about hating men other than himself and his father. You got mayors of Quickville here. Brendan Fraser is the mayor of Quickville at the minute. Okay. Apparently he is. In Date Ed, there are 2 dolls for the class taken to practice talking to. Girls received Robert dolls, while boys received Barbara dolls, a obvious reference homage to Bob and Barb. It's basically like little dolls that has like talk to them, that sort of thing. Bob made his first official appearance in Sonichu 11, photoshopped into a family photo alongside Chris, Bob and various Electric Hedgehog Pokemon. In Sonichu 12, Bob appears in a set of pages that combined an autobiographical account of Chris's coming out as a tomgirl to his parents, and a tribute to his late father. He was depicted as an elderly man, as the page took place in 2010. Due to Chris's optical complex, Bob is depicted as a more youthful. He attempts to dissuade Chris from continuing his tomgirl lifestyle, although Chris states Bob later told me and accepts and loves me for who I am shortly before passing in 2011. Chris concludes Bob's appearance in the book with a photo memoriam of his life, saying that he and Bob continue to miss him every day. So at least he still misses him, so that's good. Even in the comics, it's probably like a coping mechanism for it all. In August 2017, Chris unveiled a drawing of the Chandler family depicted as My Little Pony characters, saying that they will make further appearances in Sonic 12-9. The ponified Bob, known as Gallop Crush, okay, that's where that nickname comes from, appears as Nightstar's father, reaffirming the self-insert nature of Chris's persona. The idea guides written Sonic 2 number 16 in Idea Guides. Bob's spirit crosses over into Quickville, where he meets up and starts off a conversation with serial killer Ted Bundy. As a toy, basically this. We're just going to go here. That's as toy. Okay. Enough of that, to be fair. Video and audio and video. In every appearance, Bob has proven himself to be better at charming Chris's sweethearts than Chris himself. Not a difficult feat, to be fair. I mean, to be fair, right? I can easily chat up the people that groomed Chris. I can be getting a better relationship than what Chris is with him. 1990, Bob appeared as a DJ to the WTJU Marathon. 26th of February 1994, Bob appears briefly behind Chris in a news report of Sonic Watch and Sweepstakes. I didn't notice him in that one. I've seen a video, but I never noticed the people around him. On the 14th of February 2009, Bob walks into Chris masturbating. I've seen that video, it's weird. On the 18th of February 2009, in Blue Spike's PSN Cat 3.5 and 3.7, Bob rambles to Julie. On the 15th of March 2009, Bob talked to Robert Simmons V at church while Chris went to shit himself. March 2009, no exact date, Bob chaperoned Chris to his date with Emily. On the 29th of March 2009, Bob gets intruded by Chris in the tour of on the tour of Kristen's house, but it's not visible. On the 27th of August 2009, Bob enters Chris's room and scolds him for making the house tour correctly, fearing that if someone saw the house as it was, they would be evicted. Uncut version only. There's two versions. There's one that's cut and there's one uncut. Watch the uncut version. This is a momentous occasion, showing some awareness on the part of the Chandlers that the filth and squalor that they live in is a health hazard. This video secretly off a wave of emails and calls to the Greene County Health Department, masterminded by trolls who hope to realise Bob's fear of eviction. But the campaign was seamlessly unsuccessful. November 2009, Bob and Snorlax made a brief appearance at the end of the Casey and Liquid call. On the 15th of August 2010, in his final outing of the damn internet, Bob gets a call from the game place and is informed of Chris's actions earlier that in the year. Then he goes on a tangent about Chris has been tormented by everyone ever since he was banned, and then demands Michael Snyder's information. Barbara is also audible at the end of the call, and prank calls. Bob answered several of these. Right, so you got photos here. Let's have a look at some of like Bob's pictures. So let's just bring them up. We won't bring them all. And we got fan tributes. We're not gonna watch any of these fan tributes and stuff because we already read through this and I'm starting to lose my voice. So that's him freshman year. This is him a few years later, I think. The face does look like him, to be fair. And there we are, that's him like 2016. Oh no, this must have been earlier because he died in 2011, didn't he? There we are. One, I'm guessing 2009 or something like that. Looks happy together. And this one is of yeah, this is an older one. It's like this one must have been in like early 2000s, late 90s. That's something. So yeah, that was the quickie reading of Bob Chandler. 1 hour. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I'm going to edit and render and upload this tomorrow as soon as I can, because I'm not going to wait any longer. But this will come out tomorrow, which will be a Saturday. So it's still coming on to the Saturday video. So hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys next time.